All right. There's a yellow piece of paper in my house that nobody needs. It isn't content, it isn't going to be in my book, and I'm not selling it. And I'm definitely not becoming a botanical illustrator. I'm just slowly filling it with daisies, and I realized how strangely radical that felt. Doing something badly, privately, for absolutely no reason except that I wanted to. Because here's what I noticed. I couldn't relax into it at first because my brain kept asking, but what's this for? And where does it go? And is this productive? And when the answer was nothing and nowhere and absolutely not, I almost stopped. So let me ask you, when was the last time you did something nobody would ever see? Something that served no purpose, that didn't make you better at anything, that didn't become content or a side hustle or proof of anything, just something you did because you wanted to. If that question makes you uncomfortable, you're not alone. And that's actually what today is about. Welcome to With Jen. I'm Jen, and this is a podcast where we're building mental wealth together. For a deeper dive, keep an eye out on my upcoming book and 12-week program. Here, you'll invest 0.3% of your time for a better forever. Isn't that neat? Today, we're talking about something that feels almost dangerous to talk about: play. Not as entertainment, not as self care, although in a way it definitely is, but as something your brain desperately needs and your adult life has systematically removed. Let's go. Here's what happened. At some point between childhood and now, we turned everything into output. Walking became steps, reading became a target, drawing became a side hustle, exercise became transformation, hobbies became personal brands, even rest became recovery so I can perform better. Everything needs to justify itself now. Everything needs to become something. I want you to sit with this for a second. What have you stopped doing because it didn't serve a purpose? Not physically stopped, but mentally? What did you let go of because somewhere along the way you decided it wasn't useful? Because I'm realizing something. The moment everything needs to justify itself, your life may remain impressive, but it stops feeling alive. I've got the same with drawing. When I was a kid, I loved to draw for no reason, just pages filled with animals and with flowers. And I used to draw a lot of mangas and I was pretty good at it. But I felt no need to publish anything of that. I was just being in that very moment. But at some point, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not getting any better, or I want to monetize this, or whatever. So I stopped. I removed that element of play, and now I'm kind of taking it back. It's for me. It's not for you. It's for me. So, there's a stress reliever in my life so that I get to connect with myself, so that I can hear my thoughts again. And that's basically it. And here's what science says about this. There's a difference between play and work. And it's not about the activity, it's about the motivation. Play is what happens when you're freely engaged, curious, and absorbed in something for its own sake. The activity doesn't matter. Drawing, cooking, dancing, running, teasing your partner. You can do anything like this for play. But you can also turn every single one into work. And how? By tracking it, by filming it, by monetizing it, trying to become better at it. The activity is the same. The mindset is completely different. The daisies on my yellow paper, they're not beautiful. They're actually kind of terrible so far. They get progressively worse because I'm not practicing. I'm not trying to improve. The point was that I was drawing them for no useful reason whatsoever, and that literally felt revolutionary. So here's the real question underneath all of this. The moment everything needs to justify itself, where does the aliveness go? Because I think that's what we've lost. Not per se play on itself, but mostly our permission to play. Now, here's a part that actually changed how I think about relationships. There's a neuroscientist named Jaak Panksepp, I hope I'm saying that correctly, who studied something called the play system in mammalian brains. And he noticed something beautiful. Children can connect before they have language. Four kids can sit in a room, not know each other, barely speak to each other, and then something shifts. They start moving and laughing and making silly sounds, and suddenly they're running outside together. Play became their language. It's kind of like, you know, when you were a kid and you saw another kid and you thought their shoes were cool, and you were like, you have cool shoes on. Can we be friends now? We all loved to do that. And what's interesting about this, and what actually matters for adults, is that play is a one way we communicate safety. We think adults create connection by having serious conversations. And yes, we do. My partner and I can have deeply serious conversations, especially lately because we want to be building towards a future together. But one of the safest things about us is that we can also be complete idiots together. Like an inside joke and moving weirdly around the house and making voices up for the cats and sending each other deeply stupid memes. That is not frivolous, okay? Play is often what happens when a nervous system stops asking, am I safe here? And starts answering, yes. And I want to ask you this. Who are you when you no longer have to look composed? Is there anyone you feel playful around? Or has performing competence become your default mode even with people you love? Because here's what I'm wondering. When did connection become something you had to perform correctly? Did your partner only know the competent adult version of you? Which people make your body feel playful rather than self-conscious? When did you last laugh so hard that you briefly forgot to monitor yourself? I love it when my partner and I get stuck in our weird hyena laughter because we make complete asses of ourselves, It's just so liberating. Those aren't small questions, by the way, because if play is one of the ways we signal safety to each other, and if you've trained yourself out of play, what have you trained yourself out of in your relationships? Okay, so now the part I need to be very careful about, okay? For those of us with ADHD, and hi, obviously, I found a paper with a title so dramatic that the entire internet immediately misquoted it. The paper is by Jaak Panksepp, so the guy we were talking about earlier. And the internet read it as, play cures ADHD. But that's not what he said. What he actually said was that he looked at animal research. He looked at how young mammals play and develop. And he wondered, what if abundant natural play supports how our brains develop impulse control and behavioral flexibility? He hypothesized that reduced natural play might contribute to some ADHD-like difficulties. But he was explicit. This still needs proper evaluation in human children. It's a question, not a conclusion. It's a hypothesis, and not a cure. But personally, I sure do feel lighter after I've played. And in my very humble opinion, I think this goes for most of us humans, right? Playing a set of cards against humanity and losing your shit over hilarious things people come up with is such a nice slow dopamine releaser and unstressor in your life. Dancing to old K-pop music I used to listen to makes me feel goofy and relaxed. Trying to not perfect a recipe for once gives me space for exploration. It can all be so simple, actually, and we don't need to be so perfect. And here's why that matters for you and me. I am not telling you to throw away your medication and buy a trampoline, by the way. Please do not put that on me. What I'm saying is this. Many of us with ADHD grew up with constant pressure to control ourselves. Sit still, focus, finish this first, stop interrupting, follow the routine, be consistent, and then we wonder why play feels like oxygen. So, I want to ask you something. Which things hold your attention without you having to threaten yourself? What happens to your focus when curiosity enters the room? Did adults call you distracted when you were actually understimulated? What kind of movement helps you think? Does adding humor, novelty, or competition make a difficult task easier? How much of your life is spent suppressing the way your brain naturally engages? Have you mistaken boredom for laziness? For me, all of the above sure happened. And now I know, for example, I think better when I walk. I process better when I audio memo to myself. I need to add in humor to make the things comprehensible to myself. You just need to get to know yourself and add the play in, basically. And that goes for everyone. Because here's the thing, sometimes we're not incapable of focusing. Sometimes we are trying to focus in environments that give our brains nothing to engage with. Play offers novelty and movement and curiosity and immediate feedback, the kinds of qualities many ADHD brains find naturally engaging. You can need them whether you're neurodivergent or not. And the real question is, maybe some of us need to stop treating movement, novelty, laughter, and curiosity as distractions from life. Maybe they're part of how we participate in it. For me, this is not a maybe, by the way. I kind of want to stand by this point. And a point that it goes for everyone. So let me ask you this. What would your play sanctuary look like? Not necessarily a literal room. Maybe it's 1 hour where you cannot monetize anything. Maybe it's a relationship where you get to be ridiculous at times. Maybe it's a sketchbook that nobody sees. Maybe it's a creative table with paper and pens, or a no-purpose walk, silly time with your partner. Maybe it's a museum without taking content, like a gazillion pictures away that we do as humans. And maybe it's Lego or games or puzzles or not getting good at anything at all. It's just a protected little part of yourself where nothing needs to become useful. Here's what I've been thinking about. Children play to discover who they are. Adults often stop playing because we think we should already know. But maybe the parts of you that feel lost aren't waiting for another breakthrough. They're not waiting for another strategy or personality test or self-help book. Maybe they're waiting for you to put the serious adult down for an hour and come find them. So this week, find one thing that serves absolutely no purpose and let yourself do it badly and privately for absolutely no reason except that you want to. Let that be enough for once. I'll be doing that with my daisies because, believe me, they're bad. And with my partner because we want to do more than just be adults about it. And I firmly believe that we deserve some play to de-stress in our lives. And if this landed for you, if you recognized yourself in this conversation, send it to someone. One person, someone who needs permission to stop optimizing their life, someone who forgot what it felt like to just play. Because maybe the radical act right now is doing something nobody needs for no reason at all, to just find back some joy. Until next time, okay? And keep in mind that I care about you. Bye.